What's up, everyone, and welcome to season 1, episode number 17 of our Director's Spotlight. This is, of course, where we are going through the entire filmography of Steven Spielberg. We are up to his 17th directorial film, and this is a movie called Amistad. I'm your host, Nate. I'm joined by my co-host, Alex.
What's up?
And Evan.
Hello.
And we're going back to 1997. So similar to 1993, where we had a dinosaur movie and a drama. In 1997, Spielberg came out with a dinosaur movie and a drama. So similar years, which is kind of weird. 4 years apart, took a little break, then came out with 2 movies. This one, much less well-known than the drama he came out with in 93, Schindler's List. So more, I wouldn't call it a niche sort of movie, but it's not one that people talk about in general when talking about Steven Spielberg. With that being said, before I get into the numbers and all that, Alex, have you ever seen this movie before this?
I never heard of it or never even saw it. So this is the first time me watching this movie. I never heard of it at all. Then again, when it comes to old-fashioned slavery or army movies or century set pieces, I never watched them. So this
historical
was the first
dramas is not exactly your forte.
No. But westerns, yes.
Dusty old westerns you can
that
watch.
I watched a lot of, but not
this kind.
Stuff.
Fair enough. And then, Evan, I know you've seen it. I won't ask if you've seen it. I know you've seen it less than Close Encounters.
Yeah.
What's your experience with it, though? How many times have you seen it? When was the first time?
I saw it in the theater. So, and then I saw it again when I bought it on DVD, and that's about it. So it's been, probably the last time I watched it was in the 90s.
Oh, okay. And this is your first. So this is the third time.
Yeah, it was
in 25 years.
Yeah, so it was a first time watch. I remembered key scenes. I remembered because it's one of those movies. If you look back on it, why is it not so famous? Because it has everyone in it. Every actor at that time is in this movie. Small roles, big roles. But I just remember key scenes, but I do not remember the plot in the sense of how it played out. It was a little bit like a first time watch.
Nice. Love that. Yeah, I've seen this. This was my second time seeing this movie. I've only seen it one other time, and it was when I bought it on Blu-ray. I did my own sort of little mini Spielberg, watch through, because we've covered movies here like Duel, like Sugarland Express, Always, this one. I watched all the ones that I had never seen when I first bought them. So, but I've only seen, until this, I had only seen a lot of them only one time. I've grown up with a bunch of Spielberg movies. This ain't one of them. So this is my second time seeing this. I agree with you, Evan. It was almost like a first time watch because I've seen it, but I only remember clips in my mind. Give us free. I remember that.
Well,
I say all the time.
In some of these clips, I don't know if I remember it because I saw it in the movie or because it's one of those in the montage of Spielberg movies. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of those scenes, with him giving us as free
in this that I do think, especially when they take off the chains and he's looking down at his wrists and the camera's below, and I could see that being in a montage of Spielberg. But other than that, this is not what people know, and these numbers are going to tell us. So again, this movie came out in 1997. This had a $39 million budget. By Spielberg standards, that is low. This is almost like a low budget movie, essentially. It did have a box office take of $58.3 million, which is also not surprising, being that it's not a movie that is overly popular. Last episode, we talked about The Lost World. That was a juggernaut, made $600 million or whatever. Then you come to this, 58. So, and this was aiming for a more prestige audience. This was more of the Oscar type movie. Yep. This was not the crowd pleaser. But the reviews are pretty good. Only 1 point difference between the audience and critics. This has a 78% critic score and a 79% audience score. So the people who have seen it seem to mostly like it, or think it's good, I should say. Think it's a good film. So it's well reviewed, if not a big hit. This did get nominated for 4 Academy Awards. None of the major, no Best Picture, no Best Director. no best actors, or I think was there a best actor?
Didn't Anthony Hopkins best?
I think Hopkins might have been nominated for supporting actor, but there was no like Spielberg didn't get nominated for any of the major ones. Okay, it says it right here. Academy Awards, yes, best supporting actor Anthony Hopkins, best cinematography Janusz Kaminski. This was their third straight movie working together. And then best costume and best score for John Williams, because John Williams does a score. It might get nominated. But it didn't win any. It lost all of them. Okay. I only have 3 fun facts. They're 3 bigger ones. Usually I try to get 4, but this one was pretty lean as far as stuff that I found interesting. So the first one here says filming locations for this film included Mystic Seaport, which doubled as New Haven. Film crew spent 4 days there and employed around 300 extras. Numerous scenes were filmed in Newport, Rhode Island. Many courthouse scenes were shot in the old Colony House, while the prison scenes were shot within Fort Adams, which all sound like very old, historic American locations on the East Coast. If you are, familiar with that New England, New England and a little bit lower than New England area. During the scene where the characters Joseph Cinque, which is of course played by Djimon Hounsou, and John Quincy Adams, who's played by Anthony Hopkins, meet for the first time, and this would be the scene, not with the flowers, but right after, where they're sitting and talking. That's the scene that's talking about, where they meet for the first time. Both actors struggled through take after take, trying not to cry, and had to be continually told by Steven Spielberg to hold back the tears, as it wasn't appropriate for the moment in the scene. Hopkins reportedly wept as soon as the scene was completed. And there is a part, you might not have caught it right then, but if you go back and watch it with that knowledge, there is a part where he kind of sniffles when they're talking, and you could tell he probably was like, this is the best one we got. These guys keep crying every single time they're trying to complete this scene. So, and it's a good scene, by the way, as well. Now, last but not least, Djimon Hounsou had just 10 days to learn the Mende language for his role as Joseph Cinque, despite both Mende and Hounsou's native gun language, which is kind of a cool name for a language. He speaks gun language, being from West Africa. There are very few similarities. So he didn't speak this language that he's speaking in the movie. Hounsou struggled to learn all his lines in Mende and resorted to phonetically reciting some of them, except for the most important scenes, where he made sure to understand every single word spoken. Hounsou expressed that being restrained in real chains and shackles during the filming was the most challenging aspect of the movie, causing him to contemplate quitting on the first day of filming. He almost said, I'm out of here. This is tough. I don't know if I can do it. Thank God he didn't. And we'll talk about his performance and everything as the movie goes on, but I could see that being tough, especially with the realism kind of that this movie has in a lot of parts.
Do you know why he only had 10 days? Was he found only 10 days before filming? Do we know that?
It doesn't say. I'm assuming maybe there was a decision made late to go authentic language instead of being like, American people ain't gonna know what you're saying anyway, and we could just make it any language. And they probably were like, let's try it, and he had 10 days to learn it. So good on him for sticking with it and making it through. Anyway, those are my fun facts for the film Amistad. I'm interested to talk about this movie with you guys, because I would say this falls in line as far as content-wise. This is more Color Purple, Schindler's List, those kind of movies, Spielberg, as opposed to blockbuster Spielberg. And these always make for fun conversations. So we will go with, who went first last time? I don't remember. It was Lost.
I think I did went first last time.
You went first. Alex, you're going to go first this time. We'll let you go first this time you know what? I'll go first. Actually, I'll go first. And then Alex, you go second. And then Evan, you'll go last this time, since you went first last time. Okay. Amistad. My second time watching. Okay, this one's tough for me to do, because I have two minds. I'm of two minds of this film, and that I think it's an excellent movie. I do. I think it is it's quite good. And you watch it and you're like, man, how nobody talks about this movie ever. It's a very good. It's a courtroom drama, essentially, which these were very popular in the 90s. You had A Time to Kill and A Few Good Men, and a bunch of these courtroom My Cousin Vinny. Okay, sure, that's more comedy, but still, the concept's the same. It's a courtroom movie. These were very popular at the time. And this is that, except in the 1800s, 1840s, right? And I think that's kind of neat. It's based on a true story. Apparently, there are some liberties taken, as always. I'm not even going to get into the what's real. For the most part, this is the story, and there were some things that were changed. I will say one thing specifically is the whole Civil War thing. That didn't happen for like 20 years after this story or something like that. So the whole threat of the Civil War wasn't really even being talked about in 1840. So that's for dramatic effect for the film. I think it works for the movie, but it's not like necessarily historical or historically accurate. That being said, the cast in this is amazing. Okay, you got Anthony Hopkins. You got Matthew McConaughey, who's really good in this movie. This was prior to him being just like the rom-com guy and then having like a renaissance. He was still an actor, and he's really good in it. You have Jaimin Hunsu in his breakout role. This was his first. It wasn't his first role, but it was his first sort of big role. You also had Stellan Skarsgård in a small role. Morgan Freeman. Pete Postlewaite, who of course was in The Lost World right before this. That was our guy, Roland, in that movie. And then you have Anna Paquin as the Queen of Spain as a little kid. Like, there's a lot of people that pop up in this movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor, before he was even anybody, as the translator. So you got a lot of good actors.
The actor who actually pulled the gun from The Crow. That actually shot Brandon Lee. He's one of the background characters.
Oh, yeah.
In the prison.
Yes, and John Ortiz is one of the Spanish guys who was in the Fast and Furious movies later, and he's in a bunch of movies.
Like, we're talking like every small, like, even role, you're like going, I know that guy. Like, this is at the time where I feel Spielberg was just, I'll do a small role. Even though my career's up and taken, I'll just be a background character. I mean, I just feel like...
The Secretary of State guy is in a bunch of stuff. Yeah. He was in Dracula Hell. He was in so it's one of those movies where it's like, I know that guy. There's no women in this whole movie almost, barely.
Except for Anna Paquin.
And then like the African women
slaves.
That are in the flashback. That's it. Yeah. So, but I think it's great. I think it's shot extremely well. I think the beginning is strong. Like on the boat, that like, even the way it opens, where it's like zoomed up on his face and he's trying to get that nail out of the thing, like it's intense. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is rough, and it's really gory. This was only his second R-rated film that he ever directed, and this one is like there's some blood and some killings and things like that. There's even a little bit of action at the end with the whole thing with the slave fortress with the cannons and the guns, and he even added a little of that. There's also some humor through this movie, especially with the slaves. There's like a little bit of that fish out of water humor between some of them. Like, who is this guy? Like, and he's like, I fear like this guy's supposed to talk for us. He's an idiot. They think everyone's idiots. Or when the people come to sing, he's like, why do they look so miserable? Like, what are they doing? The Catholic people or whatever. Like, there's a lot of humor. Not a lot. There's some humor to break up the the serious nature of it. The performances are outstanding across the board. I think everyone's great. My problem with it is, I don't know when, besides this, I will ever watch this again. Unlike Schindler's List, which I think is so amazing that I could watch, not one I'll reach for. It's not entertaining, right? This one is slightly more entertaining. I would say this has more of an entertainment factor than that movie by far. And I'd say more than Color Purple as well, for me. But even still, it's a kind of a heavy movie. It's pretty long. And even the ending leaves you kind of like, when you read the little text, it's like, damn, after all that, still like, it wasn't that great. But that's life, I guess. It's, he gets back home and his family's missing and it's civil war and all this crazy stuff. So I do think that this movie deserves more respect than it gets. I do think it deserves to be discussed more. So I'm glad we're, reviewing it here. But I wouldn't rank it as like a top tier Spielberg movie. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it in that I think it's fantastic, but it's not one I reach for ever. Like, I don't really be like, let's throw on Amistad. However, I do think if you're a history person, I love to hear Evan's perspective on it. I think it's interesting in that regard with a lot of that, with the whole slave thing. And I think the courtroom scenes are quite good. I really like them. And I like the stuff between the slaves, with their culture. I like the scene with the Bible where they're talking about it and that whole thing and the comparisons. And it has a lot of good dialogue in it. I remember my one main negative. And then, Alex, I'll go to you. I think the movie, while it is long, I do think it's too long because I don't love the end of this movie. Like Anthony Hopkins' 20-minute long, monologue. Courtroom scene. I mean, it's not that he's not acting really, really well, because he is. But it's a little boring. It's a little boring because to this point for me, we've already seen this case go through 2 trials, get found that they should be free. Now we're at the 3rd one. And to me, it feels a little bit like they're reiterating a lot of stuff, right? And it leads to a powerful shot, like I said, with the chains coming off and with him thanking him and giving him gives Morgan Freeman the tooth. And I think because of the length, a lot of characters get sidelined, right? Like what happened to Stellan Skarsgård's character? He's involved, and then he just sort of Morgan Freeman. I feel like he gets put in the back burner for most of the 3rd act of this movie. Even McConaughey to a degree, and then it becomes the Anthony Hopkins show out of nowhere. So there's little things like that is a negative for me. But overall, I think it's actually a great movie that deserves a little bit more respect than it probably gets. But that's my 2 cents. Alex, what did you think of this as a first-time watch? Never even heard of it.
Well, question.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins plays the president, right? One of the presidents.
Former president.
He's John Quincy Adams.
But that's what I'm saying. So his presence, because it answers your question. Why did he take over towards the end? Because his presence is that he played an ex-president.
Yeah, so he's a more important
he's a former.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a former lawyer.
Right.
So he's on John Quincy Adams at the time. It was so funny. My son is like me. We were just talking about him. His IQ was off the charts. So he's ranking smarter than Einstein and stuff like that. I mean, he's a smart guy. And he had a rough relationship with his dad. His dad was not always the most kind person. And so that's why when he goes through the founding fathers and he sees his dad, he's like, John Adams, you kind of do that. But that's why he's still called Mr. President, because once you're president, you never lose that title. So you'll be called Mr. President for the whole entire time. Even once you leave office, you are always considered Mr. President. That's why some people were calling him. It was Van Buren was the president at the time.
That's the guy with the thick.
That's the guy who was doing and doing the train and having those important dinners and talking to the person representing the Queen of Spain. That was their current president of the time.
And that Southern guy who was acting all crazy they said it was his vice president, was John Quincy Adams' vice president. Calhoun.
Calhoun.
Yeah. Calhoun guy.
All right. I thought this was boring.
I had a feeling.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. We're gonna do movies that we're all going to see it in a different point of view. I mean, there's always that. I like Schindler's List. I felt like Schindler's List, for me, we had a main character, which we followed, and then we saw the history around it. We saw the world building around the character. Yep. This movie is, okay, I'm not going to say it's boring and bad. This movie is good. I like the guy who plays the black slave. I don't know his name,
but Hunsu?
Yes, Chaimin Hunsu. I liked him a lot. I thought he was a very good actor. I would have given him an Oscar because he was really good. So you had so many good actors that for me it falls under Steven. Look, I don't know how to say this, but Steven Spielberg is the only guy that I know that could get a cast together like this in all these movies. And nobody knows these movies. Yeah. Think about it, right? You have 1941. We didn't know nothing about that movie, but the movie stinks. Right?
They got a lot of famous people in it.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say it in a bad way. Yeah. I'm trying to say is that he had all these comedic geniuses in one movie, but not that good movie. Not many people put it up there, right? This movie, you have so many Oscar award nominees and award winners, and not many people talk about it. And I don't know if it's due to what the movie's about. Personally, I was bored. I felt like it was too drama-y. I don't know. You know what it is? I'm not into these type of movies. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna bash all this stuff because I think the movie from beginning to end is good. I think it's a great movie. It's great for like if you're doing social studies. Cup of tea. Yes, it's not my cup of tea. I'm never gonna watch this movie again. Like you said it best. I'd rather see Schindler's List more times than this one. And I don't know if it's due to the nature of how like when they're torturing them and throwing them into the water, like I wanted to shut it off. And not because of the movie's bad. The imagery is just like, this is really horrible. Like, and I get very invested like that. And then I get annoyed because I'm like, what the hell? Like, I mean, we came a long way as a society. But I mean, we're still in the same, but not in the way that you're throwing people off boats with rocks. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like Matthew McConaughey was good. I felt like he was good as the main dude. Morgan Freeman, I like the scene that he goes in and he gets spooked with the chains and then he falls and he's a rich black guy, so he doesn't seen this slavery stuff. So
he was an ex-slave. He was an emancipated slave too. That's the other thing.
Yes. So like he got scared and everything. So like again, the message was there. I agree with you. While I was bored throughout the movie, I was invested in it. I was like, this is pretty good. I felt like the 3 courtroom things was way too long for me. I was just like, bro, they should have just did it twice and cut the movie short. Like at least they could have did it in a way like the second one, Anthony Hopkins just walks in and saves the day. Yeah. I get it. That speech with him with the flower, I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. I thought that sequence was good. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna let Evan go more because he's more the historian. This is not my forte of movie for me to like criticize or I'll just say this. I'm just saying it's boring for me, but it's a very well put together movie. Steven Spielberg did a hell of a job. It's really good. You're gonna be emotionally attached to it. I was attached. I was mostly invested in emotionally wise. I was pissed off most of the time, but at the end of the day, this is not my not my thing. Like I was just like, this is really bored. Like I was bored.
I had a feeling, knowing you, that I was interested to see, where you would fall. Hey, you know what though?
I tried. I'm not gonna say I didn't sit there and turn it off. I literally sat down and I gave it 100% attention to it. I was just like, man, this is not.
Well, that's what the beauty, I think, of this show has been, that you're getting to see all these movies that are like, you would never have ever watched this if we didn't do this. Guaranteed. You would have never even, if you never even heard of it, you weren't going to all of a sudden hear of it. So like, it's, at least you're watching them and it's cool. And it opens up your film knowledge of just in general. So, hey, you're branching out. It was a little boring for you. That's all.
Yeah, and sometimes with movies like this, like they have to sit with you. Like you might not like it right now, but maybe a year from now, you're like going, "Hey, I remember this." You're talking with your kids, and you're like, they want to know more. You rewatch it, and then you're able to put it better in perspective. Because I think for me, that's Schindler's List. Like it's a great movie. But it didn't. That was my first time watching because I was so afraid of it because of the imagery. But like as I sat through it, like I think I could deal with it better because now I know what's coming ahead. I know where to put it in my brain. It's some of these tough topics. It's like, where do you put it? Because of, like you said, we've moved past this. I can't believe we've done this. It's a whole different place where sometimes some of these movies, we just need to sit with it longer. Like watching it and reviewing it. But sometimes like, I feel like some of these movies, you watch it and then like, technically you need to do a re-review like a year from now. Like how I lived with it for a while. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it. And it's like, I don't want people to be like, oh, you don't like it. No, because there's movies that I grew to like. I grew a new genre of enjoying. Like when we do our Action Movie Guys podcast, I never liked war movies. And I enjoy sitting down and watching World War II movies.
Every single one we did. So
yeah, I enjoy them. I'm like, all right. Even some period pieces I did enjoy. It's just this one. I think it's just way too. Maybe it's too strong for me as a message or the also imagery.
The genre, like this, the subgenre is like that courtroom drama.
Yeah, I'm not big on courtroom.
I do, but not everyone likes court movies, where it's like a lawyer and there's a trial, and it's not for everybody. There are people who find it boring. So,
and it's so weird that you say that because I'm a big fan of Jack Ryan and I like him in the courtroom. I'm like, yeah, this is dope. But I think is because the whole espionage, government conspiracy stuff.
We're talking about in the case as well.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, like that whole.
It's more of a spy than I would call Jack Ryan a spy.
All right, Evan, what you got?
So there you go, Evan. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one? As a third time, kind of first time watch.
I'm going to review it twice in a sense of I'm going to review it as a Steven Spielberg movie, and it's amazing. I thought I enjoyed it. I was powerful. That intro, I don't care. We need to get every movie cinematographer, every director to watch that intro and saying, this is how you create action while making it not like focus on action, but not blurry. Cause I just think like we saw what was happening, but we didn't like get like a big, huge action scene. Does that make sense? Like we knew where characters were in the place of on the boat. We saw it in the scene with the water and him doing the sword. I mean that and the colors are popping like that dark. It's dark. Like it's happening at night, but I'm not guessing what I'm trying to look at. I feel like now if a new director would do that, I don't think it would be that clear. You know what I mean? I think they would have done, it wouldn't have been, I would have been guessing of what was happening because they would have gone for the camera shaking, like, holy cow, look out the chaotic. But it was so good. I feel like the people driving the boat, like the captain trying to load his gun and their slaves are just, you're like going, what do you do at that time? Like, I mean, that, and it's in the music throughout this film, I thought was perfect. I thought at this point, it wasn't over dramatic, but it wasn't like happy. I felt like it was just a perfect balance of like, the music's there. It's playing into the emotions of what we're doing, but it's not overbearing. Does that make sense? It's not like here it comes in that Jurassic Park opening scene where the music is no, the music's like truly in the background, but it's there. It's not noticeable like we've seen in some other movies. Swells is a good word. Yes.
Only at the end, I think when he wins the case.
When you're just reading the Those are where the music is the main attraction, and that is makes sense. But there's other times if you watch Steven Spielberg movies, I think of E.T., I think of some Indiana Jones where the music in the act, everything's playing at the same heights, like together. This one I thought was perfect. And the acting, like I said, just watching all these stars, you go, I remember the 90s where people were just taking parts and that'd be okay. Movies were being made and different types of movies were being made. So you're like, hey, yeah, I'll come do this small part, but I'm also like going to be a main guy in this movie or have a bigger role. And it didn't really matter. Like, I just remember that being a great part of the 90s where you saw like all these people just come in and be an ensemble and then go be a main character. I think one reason that this gets forgotten is because you have Schindler's List and you have Nick of Time. And if you combine the two of those movies, it kind of overbears because you have the courtroom drama of Matthew McConaughey, which was his breakout role, Sandra Bullock, John A Time to Kill. Did I say Nick of Time?
You said Nick of Time. I was like, Johnny Depp did a courtroom.
Sorry. Time to Kill. Yeah.
A Time to Kill. Thank you. A Time to Kill. Yeah. You can tell which one I've seen more.
Nick of Time a lot.
No, A Time to Kill because Matthew McConaughey, that's his breakout role, which is John Bullock. Grissom. Yeah, courtroom drama. Then you have Schindler's List. That's not that long ago, which is this historical drama dealing with terrible things that's happened through history. So I feel like this movie came out that maybe people are going, I'm good. I've seen a little bit of this in other movies. I don't need to see this one. And it was totally one of those, like, I feel like Oscar baits. I don't know when it was like released in the year. I'm going to assume November. You know what I'm saying? That's my guess. I do not know about where it becomes just about
December
the Oscars
10th.
and December 10th, Oscar bait. This is not a movie trying to gain the masses, if that makes sense. Who's going to see a slave movie around Christmas time? I don't know. Not a lot of people want to see that. So I guess it makes sense. But I think it's a Spielberg, once again, is a masterful. I love that he's able to mix up his shots. I don't know if that's the cinematographer, but in Spielberg working together, you could have, like, I feel like a lot of directors have, like, here's my go-to shots and I'm going to shoot that. And Spielberg, we're starting to see him. This movie, I'm going to do some close-ups, but then I'm going to give you some wide shots and I'm going to give you some low shots. Like, what does the imagery need? Like, there's a couple of scenes with, what's his name, standing up and the people in the background, and they're just placed perfectly. I think we've lost that in movies. I think we're just, the imagery is telling a great story on itself. And I just thought it was amazing. Like, and his flashback, like he's thinking of his wife. He's telling his story about what happened to him. And he looks at his wife, and just the brightness of that shot, because he's in Africa and it's warm and colorful, is just so jarring because it's hope. It's like, this was a good time. Like, that's just beautiful imagery. So I loved it. My second kind of review is, if we want to look at it as a historical like a historical movie, it makes all the mistakes I don't like. One, I hate when you create characters to have moments in your movies that don't exist. I do not mind if you take multiple historical characters and combine them into one, because you can't follow everyone. But like Morgan Freeman is completely made up. That character does not exist. That character is nowhere in, and that character would not exist in that form at this time. He has too much respect. He's going into many places. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's going but he's only there so you could have the scene with him being an ex-slave, being in the chains and having that, and then giving the tooth.
Real quick, it says here, Joedson, that was his character, is a fictional character in the film representing a composite of African-American abolitionists in the 19th century. So he's not a one guy. He's like all these different things put together.
Yeah, but the problem is they're just a few years earlier. Too early. Like that, too early in this. Mm-hmm. John Quincy Adams. I study the founding fathers. So I'm right around where I am. So this is right after that. John Quincy Adams he was not that strong of an abolitionist. He was like, I don't like slavery, but I don't really know. I don't care what happens to the black man. So him having all these strong things is like movie. So that's where you go, like, because I've studied John Quincy Adams a little bit. Like, I'm like going, he's like, wow. Like, it's like Hamilton in that same sense. Hamilton really didn't care about slavery. He never was anti-slavery. So when they mention that in the play, I'm like going, I don't know where you're getting this. It just feels good for you. It feels good for us as an audience. So like, that's where I have issues. So I can nitpick that aspect because like Nate already said that the Civil War was not being talked about.
Yeah.
No one's caring. It did not, this courtroom, this trial had nothing to do with slavery in the United States. It had no impact on it, has nothing to do with it. It only has an impact on slavery in the triangle, slave triangle in the waters. That's all it pertains. It has no impact on how Americans were seeing slavery or their impact on slave race relationships. Ships. Sorry. It's early over here where I'm recording. So it does, like, it's totally what we're doing is what Color Purple tries to do, and what Schindler's List didn't do is try to say, hey, how can I pull the audience in and bring them for this ride and make them kind of feel good and not have it be so foreign. So it's definitely what we call those Hollywood historical dramas, where they're like, I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm going to make it so like I can't talk this morning. So you can consume it on an easier basis.
Palatable.
And do it by palatable. Yeah. And so I think that's where it falls on the historical side. Is it a good film? Yes. But when you start looking at it, you can't. To me, it goes into what I call movies like The Patriot. Don't. It's a movie set in that time. Yes, you could say it's based on a real person, but you can't look at the historical.
I don't know.
You can't look at the historical aspect of that movie.
Like, this happened for sure.
No, that's a movie you just go, hey, this is a cool movie set in this time. Yeah. Like Assassin's Creed games, you're like going, yeah, set me in Viking time and I'll be an assassin. Set me in, this time I'll be assassin, and just enjoy the film. And that's where I think this movie kind of treads that water and it falls apart. If I just watch it as a film and look at that as a Spielberg film, it's great. But then people go and say, do this. It's what I call, I was a teacher when The Greatest Showman came out. And all my students were coming and go, this is a true story. This is what really happened. And look at this. And I go, no, this guy was a terrible person. That's not a good, this is not, it's just a musical. Stop trying to thinking that's what happened. This guy was abusing and took these people who were not accepted for society while giving them money, but took a whole bunch of their money. It was not, get what I'm saying? You can't.
I've been told those students, he took these freaks and he made.
You say something that actually is really true, because I remember when I saw The Greatest Showman, I'm like, man, I was like whatever. I was calling Barnes and Nobles.
I'm not the only one tonight.
Yeah. That the whole circus. I'm like, oh wow. I was like, he was really that. He's a musical guy. I was like, he could sing. And then when I looked up the background, I was like, man, this guy was a total douche. I was like, this guy was he took advantage of the super freaks. So, I mean, I get it.
He abused animals. But we as an audience just need to go into that. This is a fictional story, right? in a sense of based on true events that could lead you into the research. I think this movie is a great place of where to start research, because when you just go to research past, our brains don't know how to compute things. Movies help us do that. So someone going, I don't know about slavery at all. What did America do to slaves? What is this slave trade? This is a great movie to start that idea. So when you go to research, what you could get some research questions. You could do that. So it's not like a terrible movie. But if we that's what I'm saying. If you wanted me to rate this as an historical drama, it gets a much lower score because it makes some of the mistakes I can't stand. But as a Steven Spielberg drama movie set in a historical time period, it gets a much higher score because it does a really good job. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy it. I am secretly, just to let you know, in my ranking, I am having 2 sets of Spielberg movies. Of ranking, I have the whole thing like we're going to do, but I also have the Spielberg sci-fi movie things, and I have historical drama. So, and since we're not doing that right, so it would go right now: Schindler's List, Amistad, and then Color Purple in my order of where I would rank those historical dramas.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I think one thing for me, just personally, whenever I watch movies like this, I just think of, as long as what the message of the movie is saying is good and is not way off base, where they're if this movie was saying this is what happened and these slaves, they were actually murderers and they were bad, I'd be like, I have a problem with that. As long as the messaging is good, yeah, they take liberties. It's tough. These are not documentaries, so
no.
Once you get into that different format, that's where that stuff comes in. Yeah, go ahead.
And I thought the courtroom drama and questions did go when he the guy from Lost World, that attorney was like, do you not own slaves? Do you not? Is this not part? You get to have that question. Yeah. I think it was The Woman Queen. That movie that about her place. There's no slaves.
King, with Viola Davis.
Yeah, they just left off that she was the biggest kidnapper of other people to sell on the coast. They didn't even touch that.
They made her into a warrior.
Right. They just wanted to focus on action.
Yeah. So, which is fine. But I think that's why when I do it, I have a little bit different perspective because, I nitpick it. But I truly think it's a great film. I did not dislike it. Is it a perfect film? I don't think it's a perfect film. It's not up there in Schindler's List. But it's not a terrible film. But that's why I have a hard time, because when people want to ask me, well, you're the history guy, so tell me, how does it hold up? I'm like, well, no, it doesn't hold up, but it's still a great film. Right. That's why I wanted to say there's two different ways of looking at it. And I agree with you. As long as you get the heart of the story, I'm pretty okay with it. Yeah. It's only a few times where I'm like going, huh? Why did you make that choice?
So off base that I can't I can't even get behind it.
I just don't understand sometimes why you make up stuff. I tell my son every time I'm going to point to Hamilton, there's a song where she sings, my father has only daughters, so I have to marry rich. That's a complete lie. The father had 10 sons. why did you need that? And you didn't even need to mention it. No one needs to know. Just say, I had to marry rich. You get what I'm saying? It didn't need to be in the story. Right. You just could leave it out. Don't have to make up crap.
My favorite part of the thing is when they first go to the courtroom and they all standing there, and one guy goes, I own the slaves. And all of a sudden, one comes from the right side. He goes, no, I have the paper documents. That's it.
I have the bill of sale.
Yeah, the bill is...
they're all named like Spanish names, like Fernando and...
Juan de la Vega de la Cruz.
I do like when McConaughey speaking to them in Spanish, and they just don't even... They're just looking at him like, what is he saying?
He says... to get up.
Yeah.
Levantate.
Yeah. I also like when they go to the prison to talk with them, and the guy is talking, and the guy's like, he's saying gibberish. Well, he's not even saying any real words at all. Anyway, I want to say one thing, and then we'll get our scores. This made me laugh while you were talking, Evan. This is going to be funny. I'm going to read it as is. But you also asked why he only had 10 days to learn. So the casting of this role, Spielberg had strict requirements that he wanted an actor who has an impressive physical appearance, has to have be able to command authority, and at least be of West African descent. And then it says the actor who secured the role would also need to learn the Mende language spoken by the character. Djimon Hounsou got the role with only like 9 weeks before they even began to film. Because of the proximity to when everything was, that's why it was a shorter amount of time, because he wasn't cast like way in advance. Spielberg was going to delay the movie for 2 years if they couldn't find the right person. Check this out, though. This is what made me laugh. So, not that this actor, this first one, but it says Cuba Gooding Jr. was offered the role initially and turned it down and regretted it greatly. And the next line says, Dustin Hoffman was offered a role, but turned it down. But I'm like, why would you put that here? Like, doesn't Hoffman as Cinque? They know, bro. Then your historical goes right out there. Playing a white slave.
Unless he was gonna play Matthew McConaughey's part.
Yeah,
no, it was.
That's what I'm thinking.
I just think it's funny that.
That the way they wrote the paragraph, yes.
Yeah,
he's gonna
Dustin
learn.
Hoffman was offered a role. Then the next line says, Will Smith and the singer Seal both tried to secure the role as Cinque as well. So
why is Dustin? Yeah,
black actors, and there's just Dustin Hoffman in there for some reason.
I would have seen Dustin Hoffman like, this is Capoeira, this is hardcore shit, man. Yeah. Remember Meet the Fock?
So anyway, Cuba Gooding Jr. was originally offered, said no, dummy. Seal and Will Smith wanted it. They didn't want them. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was Spike Lee was originally offered the role of Morgan Freeman's character and did not take it. And then Freeman was offered the role of that Chiwetel Ejiofor played, the translator, and said, no, I'm too old for that role. And then they gave him this role, the one that Spike Lee took. And then Chiwetel Ejiofor, this was his film debut. He had only ever played in London in plays. So this was his first ever movie. And he's already. Yeah.
If Steven Spielberg asks you to be in the movie, you At go, no?
Why are you saying no? 17 movies in. He's won a Best Director Oscar. He's made tons of money.
Cuba Gooding Jr. to say no, I pass on the Steven Spielberg. I'll say yes.
Well, where was he in his career? Did he just
after Jerry Maguire? Besides that, what else did he do?
I bet you he didn't want to the language and mess this up and then boom, ruin his career. But he did that with Snow Dogs anyways. Was he in Snow Dogs?
I'm a good enough actor to play.
Yeah, but even still, like, even if I mean, look at all the actors that were in the movie. Like, they all said yes. Like, I mean, especially Morgan Freeman.
Okay,
like,
look at this. He took so Cuba Gooding Jr. is coming off a nice run, right? He was in Boys in the Hood in 91.
Gotcha.
Great. Jerry Maguire. Great. A Few Good Men.
Okay.
Judgment Night. As Good as It Gets, which was an Oscar-nominated film. And then he was offered this and didn't take it. And his next movie was Men of Honor, which was pretty good, but kind of a flop. And then Pearl Harbor, and then Snow Dogs, and then Radio, and then Norbit. And then it just goes down. It just gets worse.
When he do? I mean, I think this movie is kind of funny. Boat Trip.
Boat Trip. It's not even on the list because that movie is that was like 2004.
Dude, that movie's hilarious. Yeah. Boat Trip when they two guys go on a gay cruise.
Yeah, so he made a mistake. And of course,
that was
Will Smith
mistake.
eventually got to play the slave in that Emancipation movie for Apple TV that nobody watched.
Didn't he do a Steven Spielberg movie?
Never. They never worked together. This was he tried. They didn't want him. At least that one's different.
I think somebody thinks iRobot is a Spielberg movie because I've seen people talk about that and go, "Oh, I've seen iRobot." I'm like, "That's not Spielberg."
It seems like a movie he would make, but it's not him.
But I'm just wondering if that's what a lot of people.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Let's get some scores, and then because this is the halfway point. So I'm very excited. We're literally at halfway through the filmography. He's done 34. This was the movie number 17. For me, I gave this an 8 out of 10. I think it's a very, very good movie. Now, I have not shared rankings yet at all. Where will it rank is different than what I scored it because would I watch this over some other ones? No. But I think it is fantastic. So I gave it an 8. Alex, I'm scared, but what did you give this movie?
Bro, I'm really scared because I know I'm going to get torched. I'm going to get torched.
Is it worse or better than E.T.?
They're going to call me racist.
No, because you said you're talking. As long as they listen to what you said, you should be okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, E.T.'s my middle ground. That's we all know that. Yeah, that's my bar.
Yeah.
So so far my lowest score is a 2, which is 1941.
Okay. If it's lower than that, you might be called.
If it's lower than that,
no. I'm giving it a 3 out of a 10 because it's between Close Encounters is 4.
Okay.
Always is 4.
Okay.
And I like those a little bit more than this movie. Yeah. So that's a middle ground between the two. So I give it a 3 out of a 10. It's not better than, it's better than 1941. I'm sorry. 1941. That's not a good movie. No bueno. So yeah.
Okay, so an 8 for me, a 3 for you.
I'm telling you, it's a quirky ass. I'm telling you, it's quirky.
These ranking is going to be, I'm at a 7. So that's where I was. A 7.5, but I don't know if we've done any 0.5s. But so I landed on the 7 just because of the historical.
I've done a 0.5. I gave Hook a 9.5. So
okay, then we've done this, then I do a 7.5.
Okay, yeah, I believe in 0.5s, especially when you're doing this many and you have to differentiate.
Yeah,
sometimes it's a little better. So yeah, I'm a fan of 0.5s. Okay, if you are not already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell icon that we get notified when new videos drop. Leave us a thumbs up down below. It helps the video out. Leave us a comment. Do you like Amistad? Are you Alex and you're like, this is not my cup of tea? Or are you like me and you like it, but you don't want to watch it again? I don't know. Let us know where you fall down below. And as always, be awesome to each other and geek out.